The US Army did not have special operations units in 1941. That quickly changed when America declared war on the Axis and entered World War II. A cable arrived from the War Department to the commander of the US Army forces in Northern Ireland, authorizing the activation of the 1st Ranger Unit. The original idea was that the 1st Ranger Battalion would be a temporary organization to disseminate combat experience to new American units. The battalion would have detachments temporarily attached to British commando units when they raided German-held territories in Europe. Then, these combat-tested soldiers would return to their units to share their experiences. Soldiers would be cycled through commando training and return to the United States to train additional troops. The recruits, ranging in age from 17 to 35, came from every part of the United States. Most of the Ranger recruits joined because they wanted to be a part of a new elite force. It is also true that some units did try to unload misfits and troublemakers, but they were usually rejected and sent back. The 5th Corps, 1st Armored Division, and 31st Infantry Division provided the majority of volunteers for the 1st Ranger Battalion in Northern Ireland. About 2,000 soldiers volunteered, but only 575 were selected to begin the training. After a selection program to weed out unfit soldiers, the 1st Ranger Battalion was activated on the 19th of June 1942. The Ranger recruits underwent a difficult physical fitness program that included obstacle courses and more speed marches through the rugged Scottish countryside. They received weapons training with individual and crew-served weapons, hand-to-hand combat, street fighting, and patrolling. They also conducted night operations and drilled in small boat handling. Realism was stressed, including the use of live ammunition, something unheard of in the US Army units at the time. One Ranger was killed and several were wounded by live fire during the training program. One of their most important missions in World War II was the Point-du-Hoc raid on the 6th of June 1944. Point-du-Hoc was a location of series of German bunkers and machine gun posts. Prior to the invasion of Normandy, the German army fortified the area with concrete casemates and gun pits. United States generals had found that the place housed heavy artillery that could slow down nearby beach attacks and could effect the entire invasion. To provide increased defensive capability, the German army began to improve the defenses of the battery in the spring of 1944. The plan was to build 6 casemates, but 2 were unfinished when the location was attacked. The casemates were built over and in front of the circular gun pits, which housed the 155 mm guns. The 155 mm guns of the battery would have threatened the Allied landings on Omaha and Utah beaches when finished, risking heavy casualties to the landing forces. So the US 2nd and 5th Ranger battalions were given the task of assaulting the strong points early on D-Day. Elements of the 2nd Battalion went in to attack Point-du-Hoc, but delays meant that the remainder of the 2nd Battalion and the complete 5th Battalion landed at Omaha Beach as their secondary landing position. The assault force was carried in 10 landing craft, with another 2 carrying supplies and 4 amphibious trucks carrying the 30-meter ladders requisitioned from the London Fire Brigade. 1 landing craft carrying troops sank, drowning all but 1 of its occupants. Once within a mile of the shore, German mortars and machine guns fired on the craft. This initial setback resulted in a 40-minute delay in landing at the base of the cliffs, but the Rangers finally reached the base of the cliffs at 7 and 10 a.m. with approximately half force it started out with. The landing craft were fitted with rocket launchers to fire grapnels and ropes up the cliffs. As the Rangers scaled off the cliffs, the Allied ships provided them with fire support and ensured that the German defenders above could not fire down on the assaulting troops. The original plans had also called for an additional, larger Ranger force of 8 companies to follow the first attack if successful. Flares from the cliff tops were to signal the second wave to join the attack, but because of the delayed landing, the signal came too late and the other Rangers landed on Omaha instead of Point-du-Hoc. When the Rangers made it to the top of Point-du-Hoc, they had sustained 15 casualties. The force also found that their radios were ineffective. Upon reaching the fortifications, most of the Rangers learned for the first time that the main objective of the assault, the German heavy artillery battery, had been removed. The Rangers regrouped at the top of the cliffs, and a small patrol went off in search of the guns. 2 different patrols found 5 of the 6 guns nearby. The 6th was being fixed elsewhere and destroyed their firing mechanism with grenades. It's important to note that the costliest part of the battle for Point-du-Hoc for the Rangers came only after the successful cliff assault. Determined to hold the vital high ground, yet isolated from other Allied forces, the Rangers fended off several counterattacks from the German 914th Grenadier Regiment. During the night, the Germans forced the Rangers into a smaller enclave along the cliff, and some were even taken prisoner. It was not until the morning of the 8th of June that the Rangers at Point-du-Hoc were finally relieved by the 2nd and 5th Rangers, plus the 1st Battalion of the 116th Infantry accompanied by tanks. At the end of this 2-day action, the initial Ranger landing force of 225 plus was reduced to about 90 fighting men.